Tough night for the Phoenix Suns. The winning streak ends here. They lose 99-95 on a home game against the Dallas Mavericks, in which the Dallas Mavericks lose Luka Doncic in the first 3 minutes. Matthew, is the first time in Luka Doncic's career he scored 0 points in a game, leaving with an injury. Spencer Dinwiddie goes for 37 points. DeAndre Ayton grabs 20 rebounds, but misses the 2 most important rebounds of the game, and the Suns lose.
Yeah, I was going to say these jerseys look a lot better when we're winning. And then in the first quarter, we were going to win. And then we just ended up not winning the game. No one can make a fucking shot. You have your hot Ayton takes that are going to come. You might think, Jamsters, it would be me. It's going to be John tonight. All right.
Yeah.
John's going to own them. So sit back, relax. Don't look on Twitter. Just watch us.
I was yelling at my TV about it. I was yelling at my TV.
I know how you
pissed.
get. And when I saw those tweets, I'm like, oh, dude, I know how he's going to come on here. I know how he's going to be before we start the pod. I was like, oh, John, is it okay if I come in on the pod tonight?
Oh, God. Yeah, plenty to talk about on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. So for those of you who are watching us along live, feel free to let us know how you're feeling in the chat. I can already see it's popping off with, some people who are saying, hey, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. It's not Ayton. And I got other people saying like Roomba mentality. DA's a candy ass. It's just like
it is. It's back and forth.
It's back and forth. The great DA debate is back, baby. He comes back finally, and the great DA debate is back. So we're going to cover that on this edition of the Suns Jam Session podcast. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you subscribe, rate, review wherever you're consuming this podcast. If you're listening, pop on over to Apple, give us a 5-star review. We appreciate that. I'm going to be pounding this ice cold beer because Lord knows I've earned it. Matthew's drinking water and he's drinking corn water. So pop him if you got him, Suns fans. Let's talk about this loss to the Dallas Mavericks, a team all of a sudden we can't fucking beat. Suns lose 99-95. Critical game, in my opinion. Kind of a turning point opportunity game. You get DeAndre Ayton back healthy. You got Chris Paul's out there. You got Cameron Johnson. You're playing against the Dallas Mavericks, who entered the game 25-24, just like the Phoenix Suns. And it brings me to my first question.
Matthew, I got to ask.
Matthew, I got to ask. What are your thoughts on DeAndre Ayton's performance in this game? We'll deal with DA in a second. With DA in a second. I got to ask. I had something written down.
It's the only thing on your mind, I know.
Yeah, well, again, the disadvantage of doing a podcast directly after a game is you're still frustrated and emotional. But what were your thoughts when Luka Doncic went out? You see him roll his ankle. How'd you feel?
It was, I don't know, nothing. I didn't think it was a big deal. He does this all the time. He has those lower leg issues every game. Every season he has some issue. He kind of escaped it this season. He's going to be an all-star starter. He's played very well. He came in his shape. So I wasn't like, oh, typical Doncic, right? He's going to be out a couple games. He's going to be out of shape and all this shit. No, he just a couple games off. He's not going to come back and risk it. He knows Booker's out. But then the worst part about it, I don't know if it's worse hearing about Doncic in the game or that he's not playing in the game, because we were reminded a million times, I feel like, throughout this whole game that Doncic was not playing. The Mavericks were without their best player. Spencer Dinwiddie is playing like Luka Doncic. So, that kind of got annoying after the fact. You going back, tweeting back and forth there? You handling those tweets?
Yeah. Dan Duarte just called us pussies on Twitter. So,
Dan, come on, man. We're supposed to go to Applebee's, dude. It's just
you guys. Yeah, I know. It's not real, but
It's not real,
if
guys.
you challenge Dan in any way, shape, or form on Twitter, he results to a third grader. So have fun being a third grader, Dan. That's what you're best at doing. That and cussing on your podcast. So yeah, with Luka Doncic going down, it's frustrating because you want to beat the Mavericks at their best, right? Like, you know that the Mavericks fans are going to be out there and they're going to be saying all of the stuff that they say. And I was hanging out on the subreddit Stakeout, and I'll tell you, it wasn't as aggressive as I thought it was going to be relative to how the Phoenix Suns lost to this team in Game 7 last year. They when Luka went down, they obviously were distraught, and they're like, oh, great, there goes the franchise, because they know what they have in Luka Doncic. But you see him go down, you never want to see that. You never want to see a superstar like Luka Doncic go down. Didn't look too serious, and that's the good thing coming out of this, is it didn't look too serious. And I think that, moving forward, I honestly feel this is more of a precautionary thing for the Dallas Mavericks, don't you?
Yeah, it's something that a lot of teams are going to be doing this season. Is if there's like kind of an injury, like a little tweak here or there, the guys aren't going to return or force it. They're not. They're so close right now in the standings in the West, where if you do miss this game, if Luka misses this game and they go on to lose, not a big deal. If he were to play this game, we might have won. If Ayton didn't play this game, we might have won. You know what I mean? So it's always up in the air with these guys. I think this is safe. Just the rest of these guys, the Suns have done it all season long. I feel like Booker can probably be back if he wants to, but we're really taking our time because we know what the goal is and we see the standings. The Suns, Coach Monty's he's like, yeah, last season, a lot of fun, but we know where we're at in the standings. We get a top 6 seed, keep these guys healthy. The Mavericks are thinking the same exact thing, along with all the other Western teams. So I'm not surprised at all.
Do you think
How's it
that
going on Twitter?
Do you think that the Suns are holding off on Devin Booker just for that reason?
They might. I think the thing is with his hamstring, it's always one of those things where it comes back. It's like every other season. He'll be out a few weeks here or there, maybe a few games. Last playoffs he was out, but he had to come back quickly. He's always playing hurt with it, so why not just take the time this year to really make sure it's as best as it can be before he comes back? And it's not going to be full strength, but it's going to be good enough to last him the rest of the year through the playoffs.
They were saying potentially that Booker could come back next week. Do you think that's too soon?
No, man. Like they said to reevaluate, right? Towards the end of the year?
Yeah.
Or towards the end of the month?
Yeah.
So, we're getting there. I actually was going to predict that he would be back for this game or the next game. Just, like the way that Chris Paul came back. Chris Paul was like, oh, he's in the lineup. Oh, Chris Paul's here. You know what I mean? Like, it just they just put these guys back in when they're ready. There's not a real timetable for them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he comes back in a week or so. I know they have to reevaluate him, but I feel like when he's reevaluated, but yeah, you're good to go, and he's going to be back in the game.
Well, knowing Devin Booker and considering the shape that he's in, and that's one of the little annoying things about watching this game. How many times they mentioned Luka Doncic went down? They didn't they showed Devin Booker once, maybe. I know. No understanding and credit to the fact that we are hampered too. Everyone's like, oh my.
They did talk about Booker, but
a little bit. Like campaign.
Yeah.
I don't count Landry Shamet. But it's interesting because I think that when they reevaluate, I think he's one of those guys. He's a competitor. He's rearing to go. And like the All-Star break is so close. It's 3 weeks out though, so we need these wins though. Like you have Devin Booker tonight, you have a win, in my opinion. And I think there's no doubt about that. The Suns, for some reason, whenever we play the Dallas Mavericks, we have these long stretches where we literally can't hit a shot. It's like, I've never seen anything like it with one team. And it's just like this recent thing. It's like the Phoenix Suns turn into Brett Maher from the Dallas Cowboys, who had like the yips, right? Kicking field goals. All of a sudden he couldn't make extra points.
Yeah. Great parallel.
It's like you look at the Suns, the second quarter, the team shoots 6 of 25 from the field and 2 of 11 from beyond the arc. So 24% from the field, 18.2% from beyond the arc. They score 16 points in the quarter. They only give up 22. You got to understand, in this game, the Dallas Mavericks are kind of shell-shocked. They lose Luka Doncic. They got to figure out what to do. Spencer Dinwiddie starts to carry them, but the rest of the team doesn't. I mean, they score 22 points in that second quarter. Spencer Dinwiddie has 10 of them. So he carries on, but everyone else is shell-shocked, and the Suns just can't take advantage.
You would think shell shock, but they look so chill out there. Dinwiddie looks so chill. The second quarter was just a mess. I think it kind of started towards the end of the first when the bench came in and they let like a 10-0 run happen. And I think it happened within 50 seconds or something crazy like that. And there was a tie game. Suns were dominating the first quarter. Second quarter, they only shot 24%. The Mavericks shot 42%, but they only made 2 more shots. So free throws being more physical, they look like they were owning the Suns. And when that happens, I always think, I'm like, are the Suns going to make another shot? I get kind of scared because it does turn into one of those games where it's like, reminds you of Game 7 in a way. It reminds you of a lot of games last playoffs where they just could not hit a shot, and you're hanging on to like dear life with every shot they jack up there. Cameron Johnson might be the only one you can trust. Chris Paul's getting to the rim, but like even then, like you realize too, like this is a different kind of scenario. It's Ayton's back. A lot of adjustments have to be made. The Suns were on a run there till Ayton got back. So I think the offense is kind of adjusting to that. It's a little bit more slowed down, but the first quarter, man, they've been on fire. And I think that they're like the last 5 or 6 games, they're like leading or set third in the league right now when it comes to 3-point percentage in the first quarter, shooting at 50+%. So they come in hot, man. And then as soon as they kind of just drizzle out a little bit and then the guys can't hit a shot, they get in their own heads and you can kind of see it. I know we beat them game 1, but you can kind of see it. It's always still there. It's like, fuck, like we gotta get out in front of this team by 10 or 15 because we don't want to go down on the wire with Luka Doncic or without. Like this Mavericks team always looks cooler than the Suns. They look like they've been there, done that. And they have been there and they've done that against the Suns already.
Yeah, they have that confidence, and the Suns will continue to have that schizophrenic thought in the back of their mind that when they play this team and things aren't going right, and they can't stop or they can't hit any shots, that they can't get out of it. And shame on the Suns. During that stretch that I mentioned in the second quarter, the offense, it was atrocious. It was like Wainwright 3 after Wainwright 3. And I'm like, what am I watching here? They were literally running like no plays for Mikal Bridges, who has looked amazing over the past, week and a half. He's averaging 20-something points a game. They're not running any sets for him. They're literally just, look, Ish Wainwright, our two-way player, he's wide open. Get him the ball. And that's what they do. They get him the ball, and then he shoots threes. They miss. And it's like, I'm like, I've seen this script before. It wasn't until like Cam Johnson made a layup, and like Dave King tweeted it out.
Not the first time.
Dave King tweeted out. He's like, Jason Kidd called a timeout after that Suns 2-0 run because he made a layup because, you could feel that momentum. It was so vital. And the Phoenix Suns, like they looked so good in that first quarter, 32 points in that first quarter. And in that second quarter, they end up scoring just 16 points. And then from there, it was an uphill struggle. We didn't gain, and it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been, Matthew. It shouldn't have. That's the frustrating thing. We've been losing a lot of ways this season. Tonight, to get back to 500, to be 25-25, was one of the most frustrating losses of the year for me. It really was.
Yeah, it was. I honestly think, though, we'll look back on this game, and I know it is the Mavericks, and I know DeAndre's back, but it's about adjustments. We told each other, we told everyone on the pod, like, it's going to take some time for Cameron Johnson. He came in hot already. He already looks good, right? DeAndre Ayton's back from being sick with Cameron Johnson, with Mikal, with Chris Paul. When you have those 4 on the floor, you're like, all right, this is going to be a good-looking offense. But it's almost like the Mavericks would take out Mikal and Cameron Johnson for like a half a quarter where they would just disappear. You had no idea where they were. A lot of it was Chris Paul and DeAndre Ayton playing off of each other. And then the other guy on the court, Cameron Johnson and Mikal Bridges kind of disappeared, go stand in the corner. That was one thing that happened to Mikal a lot in this game where he just was not ball dominant like he was in the last 4 or 5 games. And it's going to take some adjustments. So I know we're going to get into a lot of shit tonight about what happened, what we saw. But I really do think that we're just going to have to see how this rides out. And the whole thing was a fucking mess because DA's back and his game is just so different from anything else we saw in the last 4 games without him.
Yeah, and I think it's
If they're focusing on him.
Well, I think it's about time that we did that drop.
Ayton, watch.
All right, DeAndre Ayton tonight. 31 minutes played. 19 points, 20 rebounds, Matthew. What a man, dude. 20 rebounds for DeAndre Ayton in 31 minutes played. 6 of 20 from the field to get those 19 points. 6 of 20 from the field. So tell me what you saw from DeAndre.
Do you want to go first? I feel like I always go first with him. Like, do you want to go?
Oh, I'll go.
All right, go ahead.
So I tweeted it out. I pretty much said, when it comes to DeAndre Ayton tonight, he's playing like ass. Anyone who thinks otherwise, you clearly use Braille and someone's reading you this tweet. That's what I said, because what I saw from him tonight, he had 20 boards, yes. Do you know why he had 20 boards, Matthew?
Because no
he
one
had
could make a
20
shot.
boards. He had 20 boards because they were playing against an unbelievably small front line. They were all there for him. And to his credit, he went and he grabbed them. But you know what? He also missed 2 key rebounds at the very end of this game that allowed offensive rebounds following free throws that gave extra possessions to the Dallas Mavericks, and this team ultimately lost by 2 possessions. Okay, so if you want to sit there and go, well, the rebounds, if you were to stat look and you look at these rebounds, it's like, all right, so Black Sunday, $10 in the super chat. We really appreciate this. Says, I don't give a fuck what Ayton's stat line was. His rebounds and points had no impact on the game. Also, was horrible on defense. Suddenly, we look back and struggle when he comes back. I agree with every word right there. That's my frustration. Okay? His rebounds were handed to him essentially. When the Dallas Mavericks drove to the hoop, he was no defensive impact whatsoever, in my opinion. He was 6 of 20 from the field, which is ridiculous, especially considering how it's not like he's chucking threes. He's missing bunnies. He's missing. They're showing the shot chart, and they're all inside of the cylinder. They're the restricted area, and he's missing those. He starts off the game with some bad passes where he's literally he's throwing the ball to CP3 and he just throws it right out of bounds. Like CP3's like, whoa, dude, like where are you throwing the ball? And some of the comments that I saw on Twitter, well, he's rusty. He's rusty. Cam Johnson was supposed to be rusty when he came back, and he's a shooter. He hasn't looked rusty. I don't want to hear this rusty shit from our $30 million franchise center. I don't want to hear it. Charles Barkley, Ayton needs to be the guy. He needs to go for 25 a night. He's playing out there against Munchkins. Why is he missing all these middies? And the icing on the cake for me, Matthew, the icing on the cake is after a play where Ish Wainwright alley-oops him the ball, and he tries to lay it in instead of, it's a clear dunk. Just dunk the shit, man. Key possession. Where he misses the layup. The Mavericks go down. They hit a 3-point shot, a 5-point swing right there. The next possession, Chris Paul dishes him the ball on the interior. He's got a pin down. He passes it out to Ish Wainwright, and Ish Wainwright passes the ball. What does DeAndre Ayton do? This. Shoot the fucking ball. You can hear it on the TV screen. He claps his hands at Ish Wainwright and yells at him to shoot. Fuck you, DeAndre Ayton. No one gives a shit what you think they should be doing. Make a fucking jump shot. Quit doing fadeaway 12-footers when you're trying to back down Dwight fucking Powell. You're not out there against Steven Adams, who's throwing a forearm shiver into your back and is pushing you off your spot. You're not back there trying to back down the garbage truck that is Jonas Valanciunas. It's Dwight fucking Powell. And you're doing fadeaway jumpers and missing them at will. Fuck your rust. I don't care. Abysmal. We lost this game because of DeAndre Ayton. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. We lost this game because of DeAndre fucking Ayton.
Woo, that was good. I didn't turn on the TikTok camera. Sorry, dude.
I gotta say that all again.
No, I think it's all true. Maybe I'm buying too much into the Russ thing where I'm like, when he comes back, but it's not the rust. I think it's just a situation of having this offense back together again. That's what I'm looking at it as. But the thing is, DA did miss a ton of easy ass shots. His hook shots weren't really hook shots. They were like push shots from like 6 feet out, too far away from the rim. You know what I mean? Like they were just way too short. Wasn't the right kind of shot in that situation. The one thing that did bug me was the Ish Wainwright thing. I kind of felt bad for Ish because like I forget his name on Twitter. It's like David Nash or something. He's a big Suns. Did you see the thing where he showed I think it was 2 plays in a row where DeAndre Ayton was upset at Ish for shooting the 3 twice. It was 2 possessions in a row.
Yeah, that was in the second quarter.
Physically see him upset, and he showed like Booker was aiming towards Ayton to talk to him or something. So next time he came in was different. So Ayton was upset that he was shooting those threes. I guess, I don't know. It did look like it. And then now he's telling him to shoot the fucking ball. And that was so loud where it's like, I don't think I've ever heard like Kobe even yell at a teammate like that. You know what I mean? Like kind of show him up in front of everybody and like he shoot the fucking ball when he actually puts you back in good position. Like, do you want the ball? Do you not want the ball? It's tough, dude. And you can even tell with the TNT broadcast, like everyone just has such a different opinion with Ayton. Ayton's multiple personalities are kind of rubbing off on everybody where we're just like in different dimensions now where none of it makes any sense. I think what Barkley was saying when he has time to actually talk, because they get cut off every time.
Oh, yeah.
Like a little smart remark. It's like, let him just finish saying what he's saying because I want to hear. And Barkley's been right about this all season long. He started from the beginning of the season saying this, that it depends on all this. It relies on Ayton to get to the championship. For the Suns to win, they have to rely on Ayton. And he's like, Dwight Powell's down there. Why are you not bouncing this guy around? Ayton did become a little bit more physical and get to the free throw line and miss his free throws, but it took him like 3 or 4 times to actually do that, right? I don't, whether or not they were actually fouls, who knows? But it was so easy around the rim, or it could have been. And we talk about this all the time, the aggression that he needs to have against Powell. But when they're saying on the TNT broadcast, and like they just don't know either, and then Barkley's like, they will have to rely on him. Yeah, we do. But this is just different, though. The offense is just so fucked when it's with just Ayton. If you're focusing on him, it slows down everything. There's not a real pace. If he's a 4th or 5th option, it looks a lot better. But when you're really forcing it to him and the shots aren't going, you lose the game quickly. It gets out of hand very, very fast.
Agree. And this game didn't necessarily get out of hand. It was always close because the level of the competition we were playing allowed it to be close. But, and I've said it before, like, I don't care if DeAndre Ayton misses 14 shots. I want him to take 20. So it's like, now I see what it feels like to have him take, 20 shots and miss 14 of them, because the degree of difficulty on his shot is so much harder than it needs to be. And that's what drives me crazy.
He has no flow to his game.
He's got no flow. That's a great way to put it. He's got no flow. It's choppy. It's gross. It's like me out there playing, and I take a look at some of the comments in the chat, and God bless you guys for listening to my rants. Like, I shouldn't be allowed to even do this. Yeah, Corey Flynn's like, feisty tonight. But like the big warthog has a point. DA played well in the final 5 minutes. He didn't lose us the game, though. Our bench and Craig were trash. My retort to that again is like, literally look at the last 2, opportunities at the free throw line where DA, he's like jumping up and hitting the ball up like he's playing volleyball. Just and our bench tonight, this is what I'll say. How many people played off our bench tonight, Matthew? Everybody.
All of them? Yeah, I feel like I saw everybody out there.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 people played off of our bench. No more. Damian Lee had the most minutes with 18. Biyombo had 10. Ish Wainwright had 13. Dario Saric had 3 of the ugliest minutes I've ever seen. So there was no consistency with our bench. Monty Williams was literally trying to figure out something that worked, and nothing was working. And he didn't allow anyone the opportunity to stay out there long enough to try to get into a rhythm. So there is multiple factors as to why we lost this game. There's no doubt about it. But again, I'm not going to point at, I don't know, Dwayne Washington Jr., who had 2 points in 5 minutes and is a two-way player. I'm going to point to our $30 million franchise center and be like, hey, can you make some of those shots? And again, like, I don't want to hear you missed 3 games because you were sick. I don't care. Like, if I go to work tomorrow And I called off for 3 days, and I go in and I just have like a bad work day, and like I start fucking things up. Everyone's like, well, he's a little rusty at work today. You got to give him about 4 or 5 work days, and John will be back into it. No, like that's not how it works. And I don't make nearly that much money.
Yeah, dude, the chemistry on this team when he's not playing, it just makes sense out there. The offense looks good. Defense is fine. Ayton's defense was terrible tonight. He was very late to getting to Powell every time down in the paint. It wasn't just the rebounding. It was just trying to follow him in the paint and catch up with them. He was always behind him, it seemed like. But when Ayton comes in, it just destroys a lot. What you saw without Ayton was it was pure joy, I feel like, from the Suns franchise. Just being on the floor, all those players were just having a good time. When you enter Ayton, you just see and you feel a different kind of sense of being. I don't know what it is.
Vibe, right?
It's a totally different vibe. I don't know what it is. And he did lose the game for us. He missed all those shots. They were easy fucking shots. And whether or not he just had an off night, that's fine. But I've never seen that many missed shots in my life that close to the rim. But he did lose the game for us. But I'm just saying, dude, I give this team maybe 5 or 6 games when Booker gets back from that starting point on to see what they look like. If it's stuff like this where there's just a weird vibe and Ayton's yelling at people to shoot the fucking ball and stuff, you know what I mean? Like that.
Yeah.
Like it's going to get really strange and it's going to get back to the way it was before he was hurt. Because we were in a dark place with him playing on the team, trying to carry this team. I haven't felt that way in a while. It was bad. I hated these fucking uniforms. I hated these uniforms. I hated everything about this team. He goes out. We have Chris Paul. Mikal Bridges, his possessions are up. I loved what I was seeing. Now I'm just like, I don't want to see this again. And he could have won us a game. He could have made all those shots and we would have been talking differently, but it's a different vibe. It's just a different vibe.
Pink. I would have been so happy if DeAndre Ayton had just like come out and again, like you look at the first quarter and my notes, literally the first quarter, some bad passes behind CP3. Like a cokehead, he was fantastic on the glass. And then I wrote his hook shot was short all night. And then I started, just going, it's like yell and shoot the fucking ball at Wayne right after passing out of an interior play. Kindly shut the fuck up, sir. It's just, again, it's one of those things where you're right. Like from a flow standpoint, this team just looks completely different when DeAndre Ayton's out there. It's almost like, and another thing that I notice is like CP3. These past couple games with CP3 out there, Mikal Bridges being kind of the primary scorer as we wait for Devin Booker to come back, and with Busy and Jock Landale, CP3 was flowing in these last few games. And I feel like quite a few times he would pass the ball to DeAndre Ayton, and we saw what happened, and he just starts going into that I'm not passing it to him thing. Like he really starts doing that. Last game, he was doing like in between the legs while driving to the rim passes to Bismack Biyombo, and he's like hitting his little shot, like he's doing the fun creative stuff. He's doing the whip around pass. It was like happy basketball, right?
It was
DeAndre,
super happy.
It's just like it's like very rigid. Like we're supposed to get the ball to this guy because he wants the ball and he's supposed to have the ball. And then when he gets the ball, he doesn't do what he's supposed to do with the ball.
It's a big mess, and I think a lot of what's happening on the offensive end is the screens and stuff are kind of like, I don't know. It's weird to watch when he's back now. I kind of enjoy not him because we do Ayton watch and I watch him all the time. I've been watching other basketball games. It's nice not to watch him just because I focus so much on him and what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, he's a $30 million center. We should.
Yeah, I know. But we'll see, man. I'm still giving him more time. I know it's a shit show.
Well,
and I also said that he probably won't be here past the trade deadline. I feel like he might be out. I said that before. But I'm just going to see how this team plays with him. I just don't want him to be the main focus anymore. Even when Booker comes back, I want him to be the 4th guy, right behind Chris Paul, Mikal Bridges, or 5th guy behind Cameron Johnson.
Wish we could pay him as the 4th or 5th guy.
I know, but like if he can be that guy just the rest of the year, I'm fine with that. Just don't fuck up this offense because it was looking so good.
Black Sunday in the chat says Jock, Sarge, and Busy rotating is way more lethal, but we're forced to play Ayton because of the money we paid him.
It's like a Zeke thing, right? Jerry Jones has to play Zeke because of that money.
Well, and again, this is the other side of hard, right? Like what I said on the last podcast, I knew this was coming. I'm like, he's going to come out. He's going to have a bad game. We're all going to piss off. And then like, I had no idea that I would be as pissed off as I am. But that being said, that rotation right there, Jock, Sarge, and Busy gets us nowhere in the playoffs. DeAndre Ayton at least has the talent to get us somewhere in the playoffs because we've seen what it looks like when he's focused.
He looks different though. You know what I mean? Like he looked a little bit more focused because he was getting so much attention. It was just so crazy and so weird. I just don't think he's used to that. Maybe he heard comments from EJ. Maybe he's been hearing stuff, so he's trying to prove himself. But the thing is, like, his game just doesn't match what the Suns have because the Suns, they make sense without him because they understand the game, and he just kind of messes things up. But we'll see, man. I give it a few more games, six games when Booker comes back.
Okay, 6 games. That's what we'll give him. 6 games.
A lot of 8 and 8 till then.
And now this message from DraftKings.
4 NFL teams, 2 conference championship games, and only a few more shots to win big on the playoffs with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Counting down to Super Bowl 57, new customers can bet just $5 and get $200 in free bets instantly. Not a new customer? You can feel the conference championship thrills with stepped-up same-game parlays. Take your shot on an even bigger NFL payout and boost your winnings with each leg you add up to 100%. We're really looking forward to that AFC Championship game between Burrow and Mahomes. Should be a hell of a tosser. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TBPN. New customers can bet $5 on the conference championships and get $200 in free bets instantly. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook with code TBPN. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
All right. Let's talk about Cameron Johnson.
Lights, Cameron, action.
Cameron Johnson looked absolutely fantastic tonight. He really did. 33 minutes played. He was 8 of 12 from the field, 5 of 7 from beyond the arc, 22 points, 8 rebounds, 1 block as well. It's nice to have him back, man. He doesn't look rusty.
No, not at all. He should have had that shot when Chris Paul went up for the layup at the end of the game. I thought they were going to try to run a pick or something to set him up at the top of the three just to knock it down because he's on fire, man. He just has the balls really to shoot anything, and he's ready for it, man. He's all business, but I think that one Chris Paul lay-in that it cut it to 1 point. Yeah, that's good. You play the foul game, but just Cameron Payne was on fire. Oh my God. Please forgive me, Cameron Johnson.
Dude. Good Lord.
What is my problem? Oh,
Cut
have
off.
mercy, dude.
Cut off. Have mercy.
Cameron Johnson should have shot that. Like he's on fire right now, man. He lands on his ass way too much. He's on his ass like he lands on it. He doesn't slide into it. He doesn't fall gently. He just lands on his ass too many times. He needs to chill out on that, man.
Yeah, again, they were saying on the subreddit Stakeout a little bit how he was flopping around a little bit. And I'm with you. Like, I don't know why Cameron Johnson found himself on the ground as much as he did. I don't want him to be on the ground as much as he did. Last thing we need is him to go down and get hurt. Last thing we need. Because he's playing great. He's automatic.
He's so good.
Automatic. And they actually tried that on the very last play when the Suns were down 4 because we missed a rebound and then we had a,
someone
foul
said
again.
that was Jock's Torrey Craig's fault. I watched it a few times. I feel like
it was definitely DA.
Torrey
Craig had it. Torrey Craig had it, but DA,
maybe he knocked it away
in,
from DA.
He knocked. No. DA knocked it away from Torrey Craig, bounced it up in the air, and then couldn't grab it.
You see Monty's face after that?
Oh God, he's like, motherfucker. He's like, I'm so dejected.
That's the one thing you can't do.
I'm so dejected right now. I'm so mad at you. I'm so mad at you, DeAndre Ayton. He's doing it the whole time he's talking to him. He wasn't with any of his lips.
I'm gonna tear your butt into 1,000 pieces.
He's like, I'm just gonna tear that ass up. No, it's again, I think that, but what we've received from Cameron Johnson, we talked about a lot on the last podcast. It's something that's definitely going to be beneficial for this team moving forward. And it was just, 22 points. I mean, that guy is a bucket. And it was between him and I think another thing that really disappointed me in this game was simply the fact that Mikal Bridges, who ended with 16 points, they didn't run any plays for him, like I said. And it's somebody who they've been running plays for him, and we've seen him be productive. He had 2 points at halftime. He ended up scoring all of his points primarily in that fourth quarter. He had 6 of his points in the fourth, and 14 of them were in the second half. Why? Like, DeAndre Ayton comes back and they're like, all right, listen, you're now our 5th option again, buddy.
So I was listening to Joe House on Bill Simmons, and they were talking about Rui Hachimura, and I don't know if you heard it, but
Yeah, he's a every other day guy.
every other day guy, and they were
Yeah.
showcasing him really for a trade. And all of a sudden, like Mikhail, and this is on Mikhail, I don't think. I think Mikhail just needs to handle the ball more. And I think he got the ball towards the second half, or in the second half towards the end, maybe. He was handling the ball more. Chris Paul kind of deferred to him, which was nice because it got him more in a groove. I think he had 4 points in. He needs the ball a lot more, but maybe not to go back to Ayton again, but maybe Monty's just like, because Ayton got so many fucking touches, right?
Yeah.
So maybe Monty's like, well, obviously the weakness for the Mavericks is their interior. Maybe they're showcasing Ayton, see what he can do. I'm just saying, because his value dropped so much where no one gives a shit and no one wants to trade for him. So maybe he's like, maybe we got to give him the ball more, because the stupid thing to do, I know the interior, that's fine, get Ayton working, but the way Mikhail was playing with the ball, he needs the ball in his hand a lot, dude. He was second on the team with Chris Paul. He had about 80 possessions per game without DeAndre Ayton. Even with DeAndre Ayton, he was third. So he needs to have the ball a lot more. They waited too long, man. And then Mikhail was kind of doing those fadeaway shots across the lane. I'm like, shit, don't start doing that stuff again, man. Get into your spots.
Yeah.
Shoot it with confidence. I don't want the old Mikhail back, man. I want him to have the ball a lot. He knows what to do with it.
Well,
he knows exactly what to do with it.
You know, when you look at the offense, the way it's structured right now until Booker's back, like that's still a bunch of points and shot attempts open. Somebody needs to be taking those. And again, like I know that Monty Williams isn't like, all right, we need 15 shot attempts to 18 shot attempts for Mikal Bridges. So maybe he is saying that, but he's not saying it in the moment. He's like, this has got to be a Mikal one. It's got to be a Mikal. Like, again, the flow of the game, that's when he's got to find it. But again, the flow, as you mentioned, is messed up. The flow was messed up tonight.
Totally.
I mean, this
way
is
off.
Unbelievably winnable game.
How did you feel when Ayton was coming back? Like, how did you feel? Because honestly, when I saw he's back, I'm like, can you just wait one more game? I thought that. I'm like, can you just wait maybe one more game? I just want to see this team against the Mavericks without him.
Yeah, that's how I felt.
Before Luka went out, of course.
That's exactly how I felt.
That's bad.
I was like, you know what? Our next game's against the Spurs on the road. Like, give him one day to rest. Give him an extra day to rest, because I just felt that this team was playing very well.
Yeah.
And you know that your $30 million center's coming back, and you're just like, oh, well, you know, it's like one more game. Can he sit out?
Yeah.
And in that, because I'm just like that. I'm just like that. Is exactly what I thought. I'm like, you know what? Oh, shit, Ayton's playing. Okay, well, fuck, let's deal with it. You know?
It's so weird. I feel like I'm just like, I don't know. I feel out of here. That's exactly how I feel. Yeah.
That's how I feel. It's just like, shit, man. This was such a winnable game. Such a winnable. Let's just.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
I've got like so many notes on this game too, and I just don't feel like reading any of them.
Really? Well, it's funny when Ayton comes back. It's like all of a sudden you have 4 pages instead of 2.
I know, right? Well, here's what was going on the Dallas Mavericks subreddit. These Suns jerseys are sick, but I'll be damned before I ever cop one. Like, would you ever buy the jersey of an opposing team? Even though you're like, that's kind of a cool looking jersey, I'm going to buy. Like, I wouldn't. Like, dude, the Jazz, what a great jersey. I got to get me one of those.
I've never even thought about that.
No.
I never thought about having, everyone has a Jordan jersey. A lot of people probably have a LeBron jersey if they're that type of player. Yeah.
Yeah.
But none of these Suns players right now.
Yeah. I guess.
Right.
I don't know. I never even would think of buying another team's jersey. I don't know. Who's this Chris Haynes clown? Sounds like he's reading a book in front of the class.
Oh my god, dude, that is exactly what he sounds like.
He does.
He's getting better. He was atrocious like the last year, but now he's getting a little bit better. But that's exactly what he sounds like. That was good. I like that.
And then somebody else said, Chris Haynes sounds terrible on TV. Can't even pronounce Doncic. Stick to Twitter, my guy. So yeah, they were like ripping Chris Haynes. I was like, but they weren't wrong.
Yeah, but dude, do you blame him though? I mean, he's silent reporters read. Dude, don't mess up.
Yeah, yeah, and you could tell he's nervous too. You can tell he's super nervous.
Why do you have that job then?
Yeah, just
So
stick to
weird.
Twitter, my guy. Somebody else. I'd like to remind people that Biyombo, who played much better versus us than JaVale, only got the vet minimum while we're paying JaVale $6 million a year.
Woo! Where is JaVale? I was like, you got to look up where to see what's going on with him. I guess I can right now. He's hurt, but like how long?
I don't know, but they said they're just punishing the Mavs in the paint, and McGee still gets no minutes. He is that trash.
Well, he's their starter too, so he would get punished no matter what. Like even if he's in the game, like against any kind of starting center except for Ayton, he get punished.
Oh yeah, and again, it's just funny how so many people wanted to bring back JaVale McGee, and it's just like, well, let's see what the market dictates. And they're like, starting center. It's like, whoa, hey, you can have him, baby. You can have him. He's all yours. Somebody then said, at least we can show this game to every casual to show them why Luka has such a high usage rate, which is true. Wainwright's shoulder tattoos give me nightmares. The Suns have some trash. Call me mad, but this is a winnable game. Well, it was a winnable game, and you won it. Sarge looks like Bizarro Steven Adams. I can cut
it. That's good, man. I
Ayton
like that
has
one.
shitty footwork. Ayton's shot selection is funny. Barkley going on, Ayton not going off, and I'm all here for it. 7-foot bulky Ayton not being able to take advantage of our small lineup is one of the softest things in a big man I've ever seen. This is coming from the opposition.
No, I know.
The issue with letting Dinwiddie take over more is with Luke on the court. Or hold on, this is a good observation too. The issue with letting Dinwiddie take over more with Luke on the court to help take the burden off of him is that Luka literally stands in the corner at the top of the key and does nothing. No cuts, no screens, no off-ball movement whatsoever. Whereas when it's all Luka, at least Spence moves without the ball and sets back screens, etc. If Luka could ever learn how to play off the ball, I think it would complete his game outside of better free throw shooting. Because a lot of the people were saying that, Spencer Dinwiddie's starting to cook in this game. A lot of the Mavericks fans are like, well, why don't, they just let him do this more? And it's because when Luka Doncic doesn't have the ball, he becomes James Harden. He's like, I'll just stand and watch.
Yeah. Can you imagine being his teammate too and like trying to do something offensively? Like, hey, maybe I can help you out. And he's like, yeah, sure. Go ahead. Sure. That's how he plays. And that's why we talked about last pod. You can't have anybody on his team. You can't get another superstar because he's not going to want to play with anybody. They won't want to play with him either.
Well, 100%. Because again, like it's not engaging. It's not engaging basketball, right? So again, that's a challenge. Like, oh well, yeah, this should make perfect sense. It's like the usage rate's so high. So Mavericks fans were very happy with what they saw, like because part of them are like, oh hey, this is what it would be like life without Luka. Interesting. And the last thing on the subreddit stakeout, Cam Johnson looks like he picks his nose and eats boogers.
He does.
He does.
He looks like a bat too.
He does.
The Suns Jam Session subreddit stakeout.
What else do you have in your notes, Matthew?
Nothing, but really quick, when we're talking about the TNT guys at halftime and they're going in on Ayton,
oh yeah,
they do this to every guy. They used to do this to Joel for forever until Joel woke up and became a monster. Remember, Joel used to get shit on all the time by those guys, and it's not really being shit on. I mean, Shaq talked about
it's being held accountable.
It is. Shaq talked about millions of times in the pregame. I don't know if you watched the pregame thing where they did the All-Star picks, and Donovan Mitchell's an All-Star starter, and then he came on the show, and Shaq is just, he's like, I gave you a lot of crap, but it comes from love, and I just want to make sure that you actually improve, and stuff like that. Just being kind of a mentor thing. But he's like, I did it to Dwayne Wade, I did it to all the guys. You can believe it or not, whatever. But that's the same thing like we do. Like we shit on him or whatever. Like you can do the 2020 game, that's fine. But you just notice like what he can do better. So that's why we are the way we are. But also they hit on it a lot. It's crazy. They see it too. And I believe a lot that they said.
Well, and Eddie Johnson sees it too, right? Like everyone sees it.
Yeah.
And that's the frustration to me is some people, they refuse to see it. they think that DeAndre Ayton is just like this great player. And it's like, no, he's a person with great potential. He's not a consistently great player. And I get it. A lot of NBA players are like that. And that's what fan bases are built upon. It's literally sitting around. That's why it's fun to go on the subreddit stakeout, because you get to see not only how the opposition and their fan base looks at our team, but how they look at their own and how they dissect their own players. And you can sit there and you can almost have this affinity for what they're saying because you can identify the guys on your team and you see it through the same lens. When they start going in on like JaVale McGee, it's kind of like us and Dario, although we have a little bit more of an endearing spirit towards Dario, other than the fact that in some games he can be trash. Like tonight, he was trash. He was in there for 3 minutes. They targeted him on every play because they are a perimeter-based team and he can't really guard the perimeter.
They watch the film. Remember, I said it's going to be tough when they're watching film now on him.
Yeah. Dario puts together some few performances. The scouts watch the film. They go, okay, listen, just do a switch and attack. Guess what? Switch and attack. Exactly what they did. So that's what, again, so many people, what makes DeAndre Ayton such a leverage point is, again, things that we've talked about in the past. One, he talks a lot of talk, but he doesn't walk any of the walk. It's how he doesn't hold himself accountable on the court. It's how he takes plays off. It's a bad shooting night like tonight. But again, I think the thing that truly pissed me off in this game was when he started to yell at Ish Wainwright for not taking a three after he passed it to him. It was so frustrating to me to see him like sit there. It's like, dude, you suck tonight. Don't start yelling at your fellow teammates. Remember when Devin Booker used to do that kind of shit? Remember when Devin Booker? He would literally just throw the ball out of bounds and then yell at a player for not being where that player was. It used to drive me nuts.
Yeah.
So Black Sunday in the chat, thank you for the super chat, says Ayton just said he feels sick and felt dizzy out there at times. Then why did you play? It's a great question. If you're not feeling great, let the coach know. I'm sure he'll have you sit down, but don't give me bullshit excuses.
Well, maybe that's on Monty too. I mean, you see the guy struggling, like you can just take him out or just keep him in the game, I guess, but then just shift the focus on Mikal or something. You know what I mean? On these guys out there that are ready to play, that they've been in sync. I liked subreddit stakeout what they said about his footwork. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It was. And that was right after
bad, though. He doesn't have footwork. He just has these little, even when he does the little jump shot thing, man, it's like a little fake, but it's like, what kind of fake is that? You know what I mean? Like he just does these things in routine that don't really work on the court. It's just, I don't know. Here we go again with Ayton.
No, but you're right though. It's like he has the footwork of somebody who goes against practice coaches all day long.
Mm-hmm.
There's no physicality to it. It's not like he steps into anybody and tries to move them off their spot. He always lets people move him off of his spot. And really, Justin, Void accusing Ayton of lying about being sick is a bit extreme. Have you?
I don't think he was sick.
I don't think he was sick.
The whole time, I think he was just out. I think they're like, you need to go home and regroup.
We are so extreme here. We're so extreme. We're gonna start wearing goggles like we're skiing down the slopes because we're so extreme, Matthew. What other notes did you have on this game?
So I talked about the cold second. The trade that they brought up.
Frustrating.
The trade that was talked about by Chris Haynes, where he said Rui coming to Phoenix and Jay going to Milwaukee, basically, and then between the Suns and the Milwaukee, something happened there. I didn't hear about that till today's game.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Of course, Jay would go to the Milwaukee Bucks and win.
Well, that's still in the works. Rumor is that's still in the works. Is they're just looking for that third team.
Okay, and then what else did I have on here, man? I had
Justin. I am irresponsible. I don't give a shit.
Wait, is this real? See, I don't understand if you guys are really talking like shit. Like this. No,
everyone's being facetious.
Right. Okay, good.
Me, Dan, and Justin are we're on a text thread too. I'm like, I'm an asshole. But
I didn't think it was anything serious. But like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea and be like, wow, these guys fucking hate each other, like calling each other pussies and stuff on Twitter over Ayton.
Yeah, that's
how much we care, right? That's all the notes I have. That's
how much we care.
I knew we would be talking about Ayton.
I had does Damian Lee need to stop fishing? He tries to bait the refs into fouls, doesn't get the call, or it's an offensive foul. What do you think?
Saw that a few times. Where has he been? Just shoot your shot, man. Don't do anything else. We've been saying that all season long. Don't do anything else.
I put this. I'm like, you know what? We're allowed to have at least one of these guys. And typically it's Chris Paul. So Stick to shooting the threes, Damian Lee. We don't need you out there fishing
Yes.
for fouls, because he did it a couple times, and he was called for a foul, and the other one he was called for an offensive foul. I'm like, come on, man, just like Chris
Yeah,
Paul's back, dude. We don't
your
need you to be that
goal-
guy.
Your goal is, again, the 3-point contest. Keep jacking him up, man.
Yeah.
Like what is he still shooting? 50%? Something crazy? Like just
Yeah,
keep
so
shooting him,
now
man.
he's like not shooting them. Damian Lee played 18 minutes tonight. How many shot attempts did he have?
2,
None.
0.
None. That's bullshit,
Yikes.
man.
No, yeah, I know it is. I know. I'm telling you, everything is off right now, this game. And I think it's going to take some time. And we're going to go back to Ayton a few more games or so. But I really do think that it's throwing everybody off, whether it's a good thing or not. You can tell just the whole chemistry thing, all of it's kind of in disarray. But I hate the way that I'm feeling about this team right now. And it might just be because of Ayton, but it's going to affect all these guys. It really is. We're going to be talking different about all these guys in the next few weeks, man. And you got to wait till Book comes back. It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be, ricocheting off of Ayton onto everybody else. And we're going to see how we end up in a few weeks.
It's the flow, man. The flow's all messed up. So you got to earn it, DA. You got to get back in there. You got to stop fake being sick.
Yeah, stop fake your migraines, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Faking those.
Yeah, it's like Matthew. Matthew, can you come on the pod tonight? No, man, I got a migraine.
I get a migraine.
I'm like, oh, faker. He's such a faker. All right, well, let's try to find some silver lining in here. Let's try.
Jam star of the game.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's a reminder. We didn't miss the final rebounds. We just are holding him accountable for it. So hit the thumbs up button while you're here. Subscribe, rate, and review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, leave us a 5-star review. And let us know who your jam star of the game is. Matthew, did you go first?
No, I think you did.
And it's your turn to go first.
All right, my turn. I'm going to go with DeAndre Ayton. Anytime you do put up those numbers, 19 and 20.
I'm cutting Matthew off. He's off the podcast. He's officially off. He's been kicked off the podcast. It's going to be me the rest of the way.
Fall to the abyss. I'm going to give it to Cameron Johnson. He should have hit the game-tying 3.
They tried to foul him on that play. Did you see that?
Cameron Johnson? The one where...
when we were down 4, Cameron Johnson had the ball. He was going to shoot it, and he passed it. And they're like, but we fouled him. And then Chris Paul missed a shot. Now I'm with you. I got to give it to Cameron Johnson. Like his shot is so smooth. You forget like what it's like to see a quick release, smooth shooter who goes in almost every time. Damian Lee does do that when he actually decides to shoot the ball. But Cameron Johnson has that. Like Cameron Johnson, Damian Lee, they should just been chucking the threes. How many fucking threes did Ish Wainwright take in this game?
Dude, we still shot
one of
32,
5.
bro. We still shot 32, man. A lot of it, they just want to go in. It's just, it mentally was in the Suns' way.
You're right.
Their
but when you have
breakdowns.
Ish Wainwright and Josh Okogie combined for 1 of 9 from beyond the arc, and Damian Lee and Cameron Johnson combined for 5 of 7 because Cameron Johnson went 5 for 7. It's like, shit, man. And I get that. Like defensive switches, the open guy takes the shot, and it's going to be Ish Wainwright and Josh Okogie if you're playing the defense right. Well, guess what? They played their defense right, but man.
I mean, you could talk about even Saban Lee, Dwayne Washington. Washington's kind of just fallen off completely. Saban Lee is kind of shrinking now. He didn't have anything. I mean, he played 4 minutes, nothing. But defenses are figuring him out. He's trying a little too hard out there, but he missed that layup where he was wide open. He did DeAndre Ayton where he passed the ball out right away when he was underneath the hoop. So you can tell everybody's a little off, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody's off.
Everybody's off. Was it Memorial Day weekend?
Yes.
Shit. What do we got next, Matthew? Who's coming up for the Phoenix Suns? Spurs? Thank God. All right, let's go lose this game. So Saturday, 6 p.m. Obviously, the Spurs, one of the worst teams in the NBA. But you know what? They probably have Jakob Poeltl. He'll own fucking DeAndre Ayton in the next game.
Yeah.
And then we have to sit here and talk about how DeAndre sucks against Jakob Poeltl, and 10 people in the chat will be like, but DeAndre Ayton, man, like, I love him. He went to the same college I did.
Hey, you know what? Next game, we're going to be all over Ayton's dick. You know we will. We'll be right there with Dan Duarte blowing him because he'll probably have a good game. That's just how this goes.
I'm there for it. Let's blow.
Yeah. Let's do it, dude. I'm sure it'll take
go.
3 dudes. I'm pretty sure it'll take 3 of us to get that thing down. Dude, Black Sunday, how much money do you have?
Dude, thank you, Black Sunday, for another super
Thank you,
chat.
man. I wish I can pay you back.
He goes, did you guys listen to Flex latest podcast? I haven't yet. I actually didn't know that they released one. He said he thinks this Suns team fully healthy can win the chip. Y'all believe that? We need a second guy to go beside Book that can get us a bucket. Do you think if this team's fully healthy that they can win the championship, Matthew?
Oh my god, dude. I don't know why. I know the Nuggets are good. I don't know why they're still the favorite. I think this is my prediction. If we get healthy and we look like what we did before Ayton comes back, but with Ayton, and he was the fourth or fifth option on that on the offense, whatever, and then he can just grab boards, do his thing that he was doing last season, and maybe we get one more guy. I think we have a chance, but that's only if the Pelicans aren't fully healthy. I think the Pelicans are gonna kill everybody in the playoffs if they're fully healthy. I really think they're impossible to beat. This Suns team tonight just reminded me of last year's playoffs, dude, the way they played. So I'm scared right now. But before, I'm like, if they can stay healthy, they have a shot. They do have a shot. It's just not. It's not confirmed.
I agree. If we're fully healthy, we definitely have a shot at the chip. And I'm with you. The team that scares me the most is the New Orleans Pelicans. It's not the Denver Nuggets. It just isn't. But that Pelicans team is stacked with all of the right kind of talent. They've got a distributor. They've got an interior presence. They got the wing presence. They got the defensive wing presence. They have a bench. They're hungry. They're feisty. The Eastern Conference, the Celtics can be scary, but they're up and down. Milwaukee scares the shit out of me because Giannis, I've seen that up close and personal what that can be. So to Flex's point, can they win a championship? Yes, they can. Will they? I don't know.
It's going to be tough, but you know what trade's going to happen as soon as the 8th rolls around when Ishbia's accepting his award for being the new owner. Whatever is going to happen, you know what I mean? I think there'll be a trade.
The new owner
for
award.
Sure.
Did you see that? So Matt Ishbia is going to take over the Phoenix Suns effective the 8th of February. The trade deadline's the 9th. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm sure remember he was going to have it till after. He had to pull some strings or something. He's like, get me in there because these guys need me. They need me for something.
He better come in and make
happens,
something happen. Like, just get rid of Jay Crowder.
I'm pretty sure Jay's going to go to a East Coast championship contender team.
He is. Milwaukee. He'll end up in Milwaukee. If you
Why
look
do you care this much about him?
What's that? Because he's taking up our payroll, and it's an asset that's not utilized. I know. And we could use it right now. We can.
No other teams ever cared though. All their fan bases when he left are like, all right, good riddance. I don't really give that much.
It's because he left on normal accords. They didn't have to sit and think about him for 4 months.
True. Yeah.
It's
like having a dead carcass in your.
It is, and it just smells all the time. And you're
like,
your
apartment.
Why is that thing tweeting in all caps? I just don't understand it. But I think Milwaukee's where he'll end up. It makes the most sense, right? A championship contender. They just lost Bobby Portis to, I think it was a PCL injury, which isn't major, but it's 2 to 4 weeks potentially. It's a month of the season. They need him, and when that happened, you don't want to. You're not happy when you see players get injured. But when I saw that, I go, that really that puts the Bucks on more of a clock, if you will, because they're going to need, in an effort to, essentially just survive over there in the East, they could definitely use a Jay Crowder type individual. Now, again, the Bucks are 31-17. They're 3 games out of first place in the Eastern Conference. They're currently the number 3 seed. The Brooklyn Nets are chirping right behind them, as are the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are both 2 games back of the Milwaukee Bucks as we record this. So, yeah, getting a Jay Crowder is something that all of a sudden the leverage is a little bit out of their court, but I go back to the same conversation I had on the last podcast. Can James Jones have the ability to close a deal with Jay Crowder? It remains to be seen.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the East too, the Celtics, the Bucks, the Nets, even the Cavs, I would take them over a lot of these Western teams. Besides the Pelicans, over the Grizzlies, over the Nuggets. Not Golden State. I'm still taking Golden State to come out of the West over the Sun. I think they're going to be the team to beat for sure.
Golden State.
I just said Golden State and the Pelicans until the Pelicans can actually beat Golden State or the Suns can beat them, then maybe. But Golden State always scares me, man. But did you watch? They won the game last night. They just find a way to win, man.
Who did
it's
they play
scary to
last
watch.
night? I feel like I
They
was
played the
watching it.
Celtics. Celtics had that game, and then
They
all of a
played,
sudden
I
Steph
didn't watch
Curry
that one.
gets kicked out of the game. He's ejected, and they still win.
They played the
So, I don't know.
Celtics last night?
Yeah.
No, that can't be right. I could swore I was watching them because I saw.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Grizzlies. No, the
That's right,
the
yes.
Celtics were playing the. Who did they play last night?
Well, I watched
think
the Celtics.
Nets.
The Celtics lose.
I get it
tonight.
all fucked up.
Yeah, I was watching part of that game, and then I stopped watching it. Just because the Grizzlies kind of annoy me. That's just one of those teams that just annoys me. They remind me. It's like a team that's like DeAndre Ayton tonight, just annoying me. So,
Well, let's
sorry,
not do this again, right?
sorry, Jamsters. Sorry, Jamsters.
I'm
I'm sorry, Dan, if I upset you by tweeting from our Suns
too
Jam
late.
Session account. It's okay. I went to my normal account. I retweeted it anyways. I'm sorry. It's not personal, but I'm gonna have a night because I'm pissed. You know what it's like. You guys get pissed too. So, thank you to everyone who hung out with us and was pissed off with me. I hope that this therapy session just made us matter and we go home and love our families and such, but we probably won't. We'll probably just drink a couple beers and go into work tomorrow and be sick, but still not be sick and tell people we're
yeah,
sick.
I'm not
when we
feeling
haven't
good
been
right
here.
now.
Yeah, so whatever.
Migraine.
Whatever. We'll see you next time. You can follow me at Darth Void. You can follow Matthew.
Matthew Lucy.
And you can follow the show at Suns Jam if you dare. And again, last chance for Brightside Night. Still got that cough. So annoying. Last chance for Brightside Night. Matthew and I will be at that game. So if you want to hang out with us, simply let us know. We'll be there early, 5:30. Go see James Jones. Maybe I'll ask him a couple of Ayton questions. And then we'll be there at the game for Brightside Night. So if you go to suns.com/brightside, you can donate $15. The Suns will match that, sends 2 kids to the game. And if you donate $150, you'll get a Brightside shirt designed by yours truly. And you'll get a couple upper-level tickets. That's where Matthew and I hang out. We hang out with the poor people because we are poor people.
I'm poor. I'm white trash.
Yeah, I'm just trash. So I'm done. Take care, everybody. And all
All
that
right,
fun
go
shit.
home and love your white trash.
Yeah.